On the night before his crucifixion, Jesus gathered his 12 disciples in an upper room for what we now call the Last Supper. He knew his hour had come, the moment when he would give his life for the world. As they reclined at the table, he broke bread, gave thanks, and said, "This is my body given for you. Do this in remembrance of me." Then he took the cup and said, "This cup is the new covenant in my blood, which is poured out for you." Luke 22:19-20. With these words, Jesus gave new meaning to bread and wine. They were no longer just elements of a meal. They became symbols of his sacrifice. His body would be broken. His blood would be shed. This was the price of salvation. But at the same table sat Judas, who had already agreed to betray him. Jesus, knowing all things, told his disciples that one of them would hand him over. Still, he washed their feet, even Judas's, showing love until the very end. After supper, they went to the Garden of Gethsemane. There, under the weight of what was to come, Jesus prayed in anguish, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me. Yet not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42. His sweat fell like drops of blood, but he surrendered fully to the Father's will. Then Judas arrived with soldiers. He betrayed Jesus with a kiss. The disciples scattered, and Jesus was arrested, bound, and dragged before the high priests. False witnesses accused him, and though no true charge could be found, they condemned him. He was taken to Pilate, the Roman governor, who declared, "I find no basis for a charge against him." Yet the crowd shouted louder, "Crucify him! Crucify him!" Luke 23:21. Pilate, fearing the uproar, washed his hands and handed Jesus over. He was scourged, beaten with whips laced with sharp metal and bone. Soldiers mocked him, pressing a crown of thorns onto his head and draping him in a robe. They spat on him and struck him, saying, "Hail, King of the Jews!" Weakened and bloodied, he was forced to carry his cross to Golgotha, the place of the skull. There they nailed his hands and feet to the wood. Above his head they placed a sign that read, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." As he hung between two criminals, the crowd mocked, "If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross." But Jesus, full of mercy, prayed, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Luke 23:34. One criminal hurled insults, but the other turned to him in faith. "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." Jesus replied, "Truly I tell you, today you will be with me in paradise." Luke 23:42-43. At noon, darkness fell over the land for 3 hours. The earth quaked. The temple curtain was torn in two from top to bottom, showing that through his sacrifice, the barrier between God and humanity was destroyed. Finally, Jesus cried out, "It is finished," John 19:30, and gave up his spirit. The Son of God died not for his sins, for he had none, but for ours. Romans 5:8 says, "But God demonstrates his own love for us in this: while we were still sinners, Christ died for us." His body was taken down and placed in a borrowed tomb sealed with a great stone. Soldiers guarded it, for the authorities feared his disciples might steal his body. To the world, it looked like the end. But 3 days later, at dawn, women came to the tomb and found the stone rolled away. An angel declared, "He is not here, he has risen just as he said." Matthew 28:6. Jesus had conquered death. The crucifixion was not defeat, it was victory. His blood washed away sin. His resurrection broke the power of the grave. The Last Supper showed his love. The cross showed his sacrifice. The empty tomb showed his power. The story of the crucifixion and resurrection is not just history, it is the heart of the gospel. It is the reason we can be forgiven, redeemed, and filled with eternal hope. The cross was the price, the tomb was the stage, and the resurrection was the victory. Through Jesus Christ, death is defeated and eternal life is yours.